Welcome to the Configure Price Quote Podcast. My name is Frank Sohn and I'm the founder of CPQ Consulting. This podcast is 100% focused on Configure Price Quote, also known as CPQ, and will provide you useful insights into this topic. My guest today is Sergey Jermakov. Sergey is the senior partner at Clarity and the COO of Grape AI. If you don't know Clarity, the company positions itself around intelligent revenue operations, automations, and SAP quote to cash, and is very focused on the SAP-centric revenue process, especially CPQ and the downstream flow into billing and finance. And if you don't know Grape AI, we'll treat it as a second topic today, but we'll cover it in a practical way, specifically what Grape AI does and how it connects or doesn't to CPQ and Clarity's work, including Grape AI's SAP-related announcement like Mind for SAP CPQ and an S4 HANA sales order creator agent. Sergey, welcome back to CPQ Podcast.
Hello, Frank. It's good to be back on the show. I believe last time we met when we have recorded the Clarity Show episode when you've been our guest.
No,
so
I'm
nice
super
to be back with you here.
No, I'm super excited to have you back here and to talk a little bit more about it. I think it was quite a while. I think the last interview was in 22 that we did. Yeah, let's maybe start there. What has changed since we last talked in 22?
Yes, I think that Grape was at a very early stage at that point of time. And we've been still validating product market fit, I would say, at that point of time. In Clarity, we been focusing primarily on the, I would say, project execution, like at scale, scaling delivery, scaling across different regions. And I would say we've been focused more on, structuring the SAP centric quote to cash transformations from the customers. And what has changed for us is that we have, of course, we had this AI part of business and we have the consulting part of business. So we actually started looking at more unified approach and redefine the category that we are operating from. So we have expanded from the quote to cash to intelligent revenue operations and management that would look at the revenue operations not just as you would have the classic approach where you have marketing, sales, and customer success. But we're also looking at the broader perspective, entire quote to cash, including also the backend. And intelligence for us is, of course, AI as the cherry on top of that process.
And one thing is interesting. I think a lot of things have changed over the last 2-3 years. You mentioned it, right? So especially with AI. And I was wondering, what's one belief you had about CPQ or revenue process or AI that you've changed your mind about in the last 2-3 years?
I think that this is, and a lot of people had this common belief because AI is expanding so fast and multiple use cases, applications and a lot of promises. And definitely we had this type of the perception that AI would be publicly available and supporting and filling all the gaps. But now we clearly see that AI is not, a magic pill. And everything that AI is able to do is accelerate. And so what we started seeing, if you have, for example, your existing architecture that is fragmented, and for example, you don't have the clear ownership, you have different stakeholders across the landscape, and it's pretty much the mess that would be accelerated with AI. So therefore, why we actually started looking at the broader category, because we clearly see that a lot of things should be solved before AI implementation related to the process, enhancements, integration, data readiness, and all that kind of things. So I believe that this is the what has changed for me personally, and also we clearly see the market data that AI projects are failing, and I think that this is the primary reason why.
Got it. And what's one thing people assume about you based on your background or your role that isn't true?
You mean about myself?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my experience, I am in the enterprise sales my entire life. And I believe that a lot of people are still might have some perception about me as the sales guy, which I'm not um, anymore, I believe, because like first of all, I have changed my approach, and also my role has changed because now I'm acting more as a revenue architect, and I'm looking at the first of all the value proposition from the clarity side that would be addressing like specific customer pain points. I'm spending a lot of time right now creating IP for Clarity, and so we have created number of the packaged offerings, accelerators that are speeding up the solution implementation. And also, like we have expanded the category, which requires not only the system implementation downstream, but also a lot of business consulting upstream.
Mm.
And this is what like I'm trying to focus more right now on is providing this upstream perspective and thought leadership type of a content for our customers that would helping them, to trigger different type of thinking that would end up in the, this architecture discussions and reviewing what's working, what's not working on their side.
Mm.
And this is also affecting the products that we are creating.
Okay, then let's talk a little bit more about Clarity. Clarity has been using the phrase intelligent revenue operations automations. If you explain it to a typical enterprise leader in 60 seconds, what does it mean and what problems is it trying to solve? How would you do that?
So the intelligent revenue operations means when we are turning, I would say, the fragmented process into um, data-driven and scalable system by unifying the entire architecture of the system. So for us, the revenue process is not like this common perception. I mentioned it already because most of us like are still looking at this part of the process, but we are having this broader perspective. And for us, it consists from multiple components, I would say. The first of them is of course, the quote to cash part, which is from sales to billing to revenue recognition. And then we have like this usage to revenue part, which is like consumption metering and translating this metering data into the billable items, and basically realizing all different types of monetization models. And then, of course, we have like backbone ERP as the financial component of the story and fulfillment part. And then we have AI. So with all this together, we are basically capable to streamline the revenue operations and management. And with AI, of course, we're making this intelligent in some certain sense.
Excellent. So then I think we mentioned it already a little bit, but I want to say it more explicitly. Also, what is your ideal customer profile? What industries do you focus on? What customer size do you focus on? And what geographic area do you target?
Well, I think that if we look at this from the industry perspective, then here we have, of course, like manufacturing, different type of the industry, equipment, process industries. The strong industry for us is the high tech, both hardware and software, and all types of the companies that are selling hybrid product and services. From the size perspective, I believe that we are looking at the mid-market to enterprise, and geographies that we are currently
And just one question, Sergey, because
yes.
mid-market means different things for different people in different places. Tell me what you mean by mid-market.
Well, like previously, we've been looking at the mid-market approximately starting from 250 million of revenue. But now with changes in SAP positioning and the new solutions that are coming out, like for example, cloud ERP, we clearly see that this threshold is significantly lower. So like the system becomes relevant for the customers with the 50 million revenue and some specific multinational processes, for example. And we're capable actually offering this solution to the smaller customers and finding ourselves right now competing a lot with the typical niche players in that segment.
Very interesting. And geography, I interrupted you. Sorry about that.
Yes, so geographies like for us, like we are of course like covering the entire Europe,
Yeah.
and now we have like recently expanded. I think we've been touching this on the previous meeting into US and North America.
Mm.
So also supported by the our one of the most recent offices, delivery centers in Mexico. And also we have expanded into the Asia because we clearly see the huge potential there, especially if we're looking at the SAP centric implementations and the solutions that I mentioned already. And yes, also we have a delivery center in India right now.
Excellent. And then let's look at the most common problems that your customers have, right? So, and I always stick with three. You have three pain points that you would mention that are the main reasons that customers want to work with you.
Well, I think that first of all that we have this very deep domain expertise and the we are one of the top partners in this area for SAP globally, and I think that this is the primary reason. And second thing is the industry knowledge, because there is a set of industries that we clearly know inside out, and we have like not one, two customers, but we have like dozens of customers in every industry and different bits and flavors we've seen. And I think that also the way how we deliver, because we are always delivering at the very, I would say, fast pace and high quality. And this is what we are known for. And of course, our architects are the strongest ones on the market. And I think that this combination gets us to the place where we are right now.
Okay. And why do you focus so heavily on SAP centric quote to cash instead of being more platform agnostic?
You know, Frank, I will answer this with a little bit of a perspective. Um, so we recently have introduced the system audit services at Clarity, and we are doing the CPQ audits and we're doing the billing audits. And usually it is happening on the enterprise customer side with a high complexity. And when they've been initially selecting the implementation partner for themselves, they've been looking for the type of the trusted solution implementation partner. And in most cases, you see them as the large system integrators who claim they can do everything from any vendor. And after the system implementation, they start facing like problems when they go live and start looking for different types of the solutions. And in many cases, the only way for them to really make system like scalable and usable is reengineering. And this is like what we are facing more and more. And for us, having this deep expertise in the SAP products end to end, being capable of advising customer in the best possible way and making sure that the solution that we're delivering is future proof, I think is more important than onboarding different type of vendors.
Excellent, got it. And I know that you do cover more SAP products than CPQ, right? So you have S/4HANA, BRIM, subscription billing, incentive management, and so on.
Yes.
How does having that broader scope improve your CPQ outcomes for your customers?
They like these systems are, I would say, very much connected when we're looking at the typical implementation for the customers and the value that we can get. So, like for example, like the product like incentive management that calculates commissions for sales, right? So, when we are implementing CPQ, we are able to get these two systems connected. And for example, when the salesperson is creating a quote and looking at some, decisions that are related to the discounts or any other decisions that are affecting margin, for example, they would immediately see that how it is affecting their compensation, right? And this tool allows basically this additional benefit that allows customers to drive sales behavior that they want. And obviously, it is affecting their margins in the positive way. Of course, like if we look at S/4HANA, this is essential component. Like all the customers, most of the customers already has migrated. A lot of them are still looking to migrate to the private or public cloud. Like, of course, we are doing these integrations with ERP, especially with the complex configurable products. It's important to have this in place. But for us, it is very much connected, and that's why we actually expanded the category from quote to cash, because we are from customer to customer facing different types of requirements, and this is for us one of the ways how to fulfill them in the best way.
Are you evaluating CPQ solutions? The Novo CPQ briefing subscription gives you vendor-neutral briefs you can read in minutes. They are built for the early step of selection, moving from a long list to a focused shortlist of 5 to 10 vendors. Each brief explains capabilities, where it fits, and what to watch out for. No hype. Many subscribers pair the briefs with AI tools like ChatGPT or Gemini to search faster and compare options. If you want clarity before RFPs and demos start, learn more at novocpq.com/cpq-briefing-subscription. Shortlist faster. And I understand from you that there are more messed up projects now that need to be redone. What are the top 3 root causes you see behind failed implementations?
So since we started like doing this audit services, and there are several also customers that where we have supported already them with re-engineering this system. So I think that there are several things that I can mention. So the primary root cause is that approach to the system architecture is reactive. When the partner who is coming in for implementation, they are following each and every customer request basically, and this leads to the next problem, that is over customization later in the implementation cycle. And it like your system is becoming the museum of legacy processes instead of like implementing some innovative product, right? That would be scalable and ready to support not just today's requirements or yesterday's requirements in this case when you're doing reactive architecture, but also like help you to move forward into the future. And sometimes there is the third component is related to the ownership, because and I think that clearly there are some cases when IT people are implementing CPQ system instead of business, and then just business has to use it. But it could be the other way around. Like, for example, I've seen one case, it was a very funny one, when business was selecting solution based on the subjective criteria. And that case was specifically, they've been looking at how beautiful are the buttons on UI. Yeah. And based on that, they selected the solution. So I don't know whether they're still using it or not, but it was funny because they mentioned this as the primary reason for system selection.
That's just something I can emphasize, right? So I do lots of evaluations also, and the UI plays an outsized role, especially early on, right? So aside from capabilities. Anyway, I want to follow up on another point that you mentioned, and that was the over customization, because I think that's also a serious issue that has been around for a long time. I was just wondering, what does Clarity do to discourage over customization?
Oh, so we stick to standard as much as possible. So basically, we would be having fights with the customers who are willing to customize, because if we can do it in standard, we will do it in standard. Because like down the line, yeah, it saves dramatic amount of budget for system support. And like we've seen all different cases recently, including the hard-coded UIs and things like that, that is pushing customers to almost re-engineer the system after every quarterly upgrade. And since we are in the cloud, we are acting as the cloud native solution implementation company, and we always push customers into the standard as much as we can.
Excellent. And I think what also helps you as a system implementer is to have accelerators. You have a bunch of them. Also, what I see with others right now is also that they are using AI to reduce the implementation times, because that seems to be a common pressure for lots of system implementers these days to use these tools to make the implementations faster and therefore also a little bit cheaper potentially, right? So I was just wondering, how do you use them and what results can your customers expect when you use that?
So we have like specifically for CPQ, we have created several packages, and we stopped selling CPQ as product. We're selling packages. No, basically CPQ is sold as a product by SAP, of course, but we're selling implementation packages instead of like custom implementation. So there are several reasons why we have created them, and of course, one of them is to accelerate. It's obviously, but another one is that we are seeing the trend that customers are usually coming with some specific limited requirements, and as we start, showing them the system and they realize the capabilities, the requirements start growing, and sometimes like they're doubling, tripling, the scope, which is not like a good thing for the first stage, at least of the project. So therefore, we're always offering them the to go with accelerator that has fixed scope for the first phase. And once we has implemented it, and first of all, they are immediately start getting some value from using the system. They better understand what type of the requirements that they have identified are business critical for them, and they still want to implement them in the second phase, for example. But it also gets more controlled implementation. And in our case, we have created accelerators not just as the process that you speeding up something with AI or whatever, but we have created actually the deployable system that we are coming with. So we are deploying the pre-configured environment, and even at the discovery stage, it helps us a lot to get better value for the customer, because they don't basically go through the discovery phase and listening to the promises how it would be configured for their requirements, but actually they see configured system already. And of course, we use also different type of the AI acceleration, like for example, the AI automated testing and process discovery tools. So definitely we are using them. But our primary approach is to have like this user stories, test scripts, deployable items, integration scenarios in place, all this nice stuff.
Got it. Now let's talk about the Clarity Quote 2.0 performance capabilities. That's something like large quotes and item lines up to 100,000 plus features like involved parties and subscription related capabilities. For a listener who is still on SAP Quote 1.0, what are the real reasons to migrate to SAP Quote 2.0 beyond its newer? From your point of view, what are the key reasons?
Well, first of all, the most important part is, of course, performance and scalability. And the system was re-engineered in a way that, as you mentioned already, it handles like larger codes with more line items, of course, and uh, and of course it deliver much faster responsiveness for the salespeople, because this is something that some of the customers they're struggling with, and also in some cases it is related to how the system is implemented, and sometimes you can fix it to a certain point, but in some cases it's just not capable to handle the load. Then there are some other components, like for example better support for large deal collaboration. And when we're looking at the complex deals, when we're looking at the phase deals, when we're looking at the multiple stakeholders working on the same quote, so this is like better supported and in V2. Then, yeah, of course, like the improvements on the out-of-box integrations with the CP environment. And I think that this is important, especially I think for, I mean, the new customers or the customers who are maybe adding components to their quote-to-cash landscape. And of course, like the future innovation focus for SAP is the in the quote 2.0. So if we are looking at the innovations coming from them and also support of AI use cases that they're developing right now, so it all comes with quote 2.0.
Excellent. So we covered that as well. Then let's talk about AI. And I want to close with that and really look at how you use it with your customers right now. I want to look at it from two perspectives, from a user perspective and from an administrator perspective, and see where, from your point of view and your experience, where you think customers get the most out of it and what exactly they get out of it.
Well, I think that based on also the my guests on the podcast and the things that we're discussing with them, we all see the um, highest adoption happening in the sales and marketing side. And it is absolutely relevant for Clarity and Grape. Well, like for us, so we clearly see that the highest value we are getting from AI tools in that specific area. And this is something also that we see on the customer side. When it comes to CPQ, we're clearly looking at the different ways how we can improve the process and support, first of all, salespeople reducing the manual load. But from the other side, how do we help customers to become more competitive on the market? Like for example, the cases that we are working with is of course, the RFQ recognition, sales order processing, right? Purchase order processing, sales order creation. But also we are looking at the different type of the scenarios also as the part of the RFQ process, where a system would help customer to define, for example, best pricing. And here we have the scenarios, and also one of our customers who is collecting different type of the data from the multiple data sources, like for example, competitive data, the market data, and logistics data, for example. And based on that, AI provides recommendations on the pricing for RFPs and RFQs, which clearly makes their offers more competitive. And I wouldn't say that it is a dynamic pricing that they are creating, but at least they are able to tailor the specific offer to the competitive environment and they are facing in that specific deal. Also, we have we see when it comes to agentic scenarios, we see even better outcome when we are not just, processing, accelerating some process, but we are also enhancing some capabilities. Like, for example, if you take the typical manufacturing project and, for example, MTO, ETO processes, then in these cases, you would have a bunch of documents flowing back and forth, like automating this document load. And then also you have a lot of communication with the customer, like precising some stuff, asking questions, getting answers, etc., etc. So in the cases that we have seen and we have implemented, so AI agents are also covering that part. So therefore, human is just, operating the process instead of, writing mails and clarifying some questions engineering has and different other things.
And let me ask one follow-up question concerning this. So I would expect almost every customer wants to talk about AI in one way, shape, or form.
Yes.
I want to know two things. One is, are there differences between your mid-sized customers and your enterprise customers? And how many of the customers already see measurable results right now where they could really tell you, we have gained whatever X% of margin more or whatever it is because of these AI tools?
Yeah, so I think that it all comes to the complexity and the environment. So for the large enterprise customers, of course, we see a lot of different systems and very complex architectures in place already, and a lot of legacy. And of course, the orchestrating this and our approach, overall our approach to AI, we're not trying to replace things. We're trying to identify the weakest points in the process and improve them with AI, like with this document processing, right? So instead of people doing this manually, we're automating the process. And as I mentioned, large customers has this complex architecture and complex systems, Like, for example, if we are looking at the enterprise scale customer, we would go to the ERP product catalog in most cases for the validation or like configurable product creation, for example. In some smaller customer cases, we see it a little bit differently because they might still run a lot of Excel spreadsheets. And in some cases, the pricing or the product master could be in the spreadsheet. It also comes to the cases where we see a lot of acquisitions has been made in different like environment with the different ERP systems and different CRM systems, for example. And then for us, it's the way how do we structure, whether we structure integration between the enterprise systems or we get some bits and pieces of the system and the document, or the database or different entities and stuff like that. And of course, customers they see clear value because when they like, for example, if you look at the typical sales department, we always face this issue that our targets are growing and it is hard to find people and onboard them, and their time to revenue is like up to year. And when you have the system in place, this person becomes operational from day one. And of course, when we're reducing the manual workload, they have more time like attracting new customers, which definitely brings like triple value to the process.
Excellent. Super interesting as always to discuss, right? So, but we're coming almost to the end. So, hence my almost last question is where do listeners who are interested to learn more about Clarity and Gray, where do they have a chance to meet you or the team? Are there any events happening in the next 3 to 6 months that they should know about where they could meet you face to face?
Yes, absolutely. So we are participating in all SAP Global and most of the regional events. So we are at the Sapphire in Orlando and Madrid this year, and we are across different SAP Connect events and CX events across Europe.
Excellent. And what's a good way for interested listeners to contact you in any case if they have any follow-up questions?
Yeah, so both of our websites, clarity.cx and grape.ai, you would find all our use cases there if you're interested to learn more about what we have covered today. And I would give simple one email, hello@clarity.cx for those who want to reach out.
Perfect. Hey, Sergey, always fun talking to you. Thank you very much for making time for the CPQ podcast today.
Thank you, Frank. It was a nice conversation.
I'd like to thank everyone for listening and hope you learned something interesting today. If you like the podcast, please go ahead and rate it on iTunes or share it with your friends and colleagues. In the meantime, you can find us online at www.novocpq.com. So long, everyone.